Good evening, Rick.
Good evening, sir. Yes, I believe that's what we call this time of day.
That's what it's called when it's dark outside. So we had no plans of matching, but we're both wearing our best yellow shirts, and kind of twinning for this episode of the video podcast.
Yes, my beard is only trying to be as cool as yours, but I do what I can.
It'll get there one day, Rick. One day. Your tiny beard will be as lush as mine.
Yes, I just need to rub Miracle Grow on it every day and leave it there while working.
Lots of manure. That's my secret. Lots. So
I knew it.
Well, do you like my new cup, Rick?
That is a pretty awesome cup.
I have a new Punisher cup. It's very nice. I like it. It's a Tervis tumbler.
You're so fancy and high class.
I drive around with it. I'm like, hello, do you like my drink? It's sweet tea in here.
I sure hope you hold your pinky out when you drink out of it to be the classiest.
Oh, that's the only way. Like this. Only way to drink out of a classic cup like that. So we're here to talk about games, Rick.
I could probably do that for a little bit. I'm pretty good at talking far too much about games.
That's true. I had a conversation with a couple that I just met about board games. They were talking about different a version of Clue that they had found when I think she played it when she was a kid. And so shout out to Margie and John, who we just met recently today, like an hour ago. She was talking about a version of Clue, the Museum Caper or something like that. And so I had not heard of it, and I don't think I've ever played it.
I don't know that.
Do you know that one?
I do know the Golden Girls one that we talked about or published, and I haven't seen it come out yet, but we are keeping our eye on it because if there's a version of Clue to get, it's Golden Girls.
That's right. We pushed on our Facebook page, One Board Family Facebook page. We showed off a version of Clue that's coming out with the Golden Girls, and you're trying to solve who cheesecake. So, yeah, what a caper. Anyway, speaking of our Facebook page, Rick, we asked people to share which game they wanted us to do a review for coming up in the future. And we asked them, we had Tiny Epic Quest on there. We had Deep Sea Adventure, which is one of our favorites. And we had Bears versus Babies. Bears versus Babies won. I think it's mostly because of the packaging. So, but we're going to do a review of Bears versus Babies. I think I'm going to do a video review because I think that's probably the best fit for that one. So thank you to everybody who voted for those, because I think it was cool hearing from people just saying, oh man, that would be really neat. So got a good response from that on the Facebook page.
Yes, thank you, Democracy, for your contribution to our board game endeavors.
We couldn't do it without democracy.
Yes.
So, speaking not of democracy, this game right here, Okey Dokey. Oh, Rick, what drink are you drinking? I see you enjoying a nice cold beverage.
A nice Simple Truth Organic seltzer water. Not a sponsor. Would like to be. How do we get a sponsor for seltzer water? Who do we contact? You know those phone numbers they used to put on things that was like, how are we doing? Call us and whatever. And I used to try to get free candy bars out of doing that all the time. I wonder if I can pull that off now.
That would be good. Well, I found a way to get free pizza from the local Pizza Hut. They burn our pizza every single time we order it. So I've complained so many times that they gave us a free pizza. It's really not worth it because they burn the free pizza that we got. So it kind of sucks.
We can burn our own pizza at home, thank you. We come here for non-burned pizza.
The worst part is we have to travel across town to get a decent Pizza Hut pizza. I know that that's an oxymoron, decent and Pizza Hut pizza. All in one sentence. Let's talk about games, Rick. And let's check back in with the seltzer water. Do we call Big Seltzer Water? Is that who we call?
Yes, Big Seltzer Water. That is definitely who needs to be called for. It is delicious.
What flavor? What flavor is that?
Mixed berry. And it tastes
I like berries.
If berries got carbonated. It's quite refreshing.
So this game, Okey Dokey, we got a copy of it from TMG. We love TMG. They do some pretty fantastic games. Some of my favorites, Bomb Squad, and then also Flip City. That's a personal favorite of mine and Aaron's. We play a lot of Flip City. So now that Aaron knows how to beat me, I play a lot less Flip City. So I enjoyed the 30 some odd wins that I had before she learned how to beat me.
Yeah. Well, at least you had those.
Anyway, I felt good about myself. Okey Dokey is a cooperative game. It's actually pretty cool. We're going to be doing a review on over on One Board Family pretty soon, like probably in the next week and a half. But you have all these numbers. So the point of the game is you are building this amazing orchestra out of these animals. See that sweet, sweet little pig who's singing right there? Look at him. So classy. Anyway, you've got all these animals, and you are working cooperatively. You can play up to, I think, 5 players. We've played it between 2 and 4 players, and it works really well. I haven't played on the 5th player. I want to get that in before we do the review. And it's got a solo mode, which is actually pretty cool. So the point of the game is that everybody is given a set of cards, but you can't really talk about your cards very much. All you can do is give hints about what you have in your hand. You can't talk about the value of the cards. So I can't say, hey guys, I got a 6 and a 7 in my hand. You can only say, hey, I think I should play a card next. I really think I should play a card next. That sort of thing. You can tell somebody that you have a red card. You could say, hey, I've got a red card coming up, and you're trying to lay out the cards in an order from lowest to highest. So if you laid out a 2, the next number obviously would be a 3. But if nobody has a 3 or they can't get that on the table that turn, then if somebody has a 4 or 5, they can play that. But you have to play them in columns, which is what makes the game so hard. You have to play everything in columns. So once one column of the 5 different colors is put out there, you have to go to the next column. So what we found, I played it at work one time with 4. We played it a couple times at work, actually. We had 4 guys playing it, and it looks like a child's game, like no lie. The box art and everything, it looks like a little kid's game. But what happens with 4 players is you can actually one person can run out of cards and not be able to play any cards, which essentially ends the game. Because as soon as somebody, either when you reach 50 cards in your orchestra, all 50 cards are played, or when one player cannot play a legal play, the game is over and the game has won. So it got tough with 4 players because one of the guys at the table ran out of cards while everybody else had 2 cards still. And so we were like, mess this up. But no, that's just how the game plays. You have to really plan for it. And I love the cooperative nature of Okey Dokey. You have to really think about your moves, especially toward the end. You have to really plan them out. But because you can only say certain things, you can't say, hey, who's got a 5? Play the 5. You can't do that. And so you have to think of creative ways to your cooperative players and do it right. So very cool game. I like it. I hate the name of it, though. Just a heads up. That's adjusted in the review.
Yeah, that name doesn't really seem to make sense to me at all. And yeah, the theme is kind of weird for a fairly thinky game like that. Have you played Hanabi before?
Yeah, I have. And actually, Hanabi, I would say Hanabi is probably a good, if a person's played Hanabi, this is a good fit for them if they like it. I have Bomb Squad, which is also made by TMG, and they did a great job of taking that mechanic of Hanabi where you're playing the cards face out and everybody else has to give information about the cards so that you can play the right one. Bomb Squad's amazing. I love that game. terrible at it because I keep playing with different people. I just need to trap like 4 really good people in a room and say we're playing this for 5 hours.
Yeah,
we'll get good at it.
Those kind of games are pretty. Like, I've played Hanabi a few times, and I like the idea of Hanabi, but I always find that there's, especially with new people, you feel the need to stretch it a little bit so that they don't get frustrated while playing. Like, you end up kind of sneakily saying those things you're not supposed to say. And then the challenge all kind of disappears. So, I mean, we've had fun with it. I've liked it a lot, but yeah, I've always felt like in those games it becomes really easy because it's based on an honor system. You can't say it, so don't say it. And if you do say it, the best we can do is, oh, you better not say that next time.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And I think that's why Bomb Squad really only comes out with a certain group of people. When I play Bomb Squad, it's usually with some of the same 3 people. I've got a couple guys that have played it with me a couple times, and I'll play Bomb Squad with them. But I try to introduce somebody to it about, and it was a disaster. Like, we sat there, and the person was terrible at giving clues. The person just didn't understand, like, the best clues to give, and we would say something and the person would forget within 2 turns. And so it was just really frustrating. And I think just like Hanabi, that's how I approach Bomb Squad, getting kind of the same people to play. I don't introduce it to new people very often, but Okey Dokey is, I think, an easier version of that. I think Okey Dokey could a newer player. It has 4 different difficulty levels. You've got 3 cards that you can put in there that are basically they're equal cards, which act like wilds. So it basically gives you opportunity to screw up. Like, whoever gets that equal card can say, I have nothing to play, and they can play that equal card and still have a valid play, which is good. I've played it so far. I've played it on hard difficulty the most, and we've beaten it most of the time, but I want to try it on with no wilds in there. So
you're a brave man.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really good. It's a really good game. I really enjoy it. So I feel like I've already written most of the review. I want to try it with 5 players before I finish it up to make sure that I approach every angle of it.
And so that's been released now. Like, people can go out and grab a copy now.
Yeah, Okey Dokey is something that you can pick up right now. TMG, I believe you can find it on Amazon. You can go to TMG Games online. You can also check out your local. It was shipping after Gen Con, so it's something that's probably hitting some stores. I've seen a couple people playing it on our Instagram account, instagram.com/oneboardfamily. Plug City. Anyway.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean,
what have you played this Labor Day?
We had a couple come over and hang out with us last night, and we played Camel Up, and we've been playing ever since I got a copy of that and started to kind of break it out at times. It's done pretty well. And then we played Burgle Brothers or Burgle Bros, a Tim Fowers game, which I'm a big fan of. And it's a cooperative heist game. Sorry, I'm slightly distracted. My dog is getting a bath right now, and I think he's just been released from the tub, and so all I'm hearing are feet everywhere. Burgle Bros is a cooperative heist game in which you're trying to break into like an office or a bank and try to steal the loot and get out before the guards catch you. And we got close. We stole one piece of loot and almost stole the second one, but then we got caught because the guard is the worst, and I think I got a couple rules wrong. So, but had a lot of fun with it. It's a game I very much enjoy. So that was really fun. Did you guys get to play much this weekend?
Yeah, last night we actually, our church had we threw a game night to celebrate 4 years as a church body, and we had a really fun time. I got to play Sonar, Ladder 29, and something else, and I had a good time with it. I taught a whole group of people how to play New York Slice. So that was a lot of fun to see people think through that and kind of process how to get one over on other players. It was a good time. We had people playing Burger Up, Here Kitty Kitty, Fishy Tactics, and a game on PlayStation 4 that was a huge hit. So Overcooked. I don't know if you play video games very often, but Overcooked was a huge hit. A friend of mine had bought it, and so they played it for like 2 hours.
So was this all at your house?
Yeah. Everybody was over at our house. We had a really good time. It was a lot of fun.
That sounds great. Speaking of the Burgle Bros, that's a Tim Fowers game, and he's one of my favorite game designers, and currently has a game on Kickstarter called Now Boarding. We've talked a little bit about Kickstarter in the past, and so I generally set aside a certain amount of money for me to spend on games every month. And so September's just started. I've got some money, and so I'm thinking about backing it. But then also over on Board Game Geek, there is an auction happening from a guy, local guy, to where I could grab maybe 3 or 4 games that I'm interested in, that I'm slightly, I'm interested in, versus this game from Tim Fowers, which I'm very interested in. So this is it's a very first world problem, I know, but this issue of, do I pick up a bunch of used games for cheaper that I get to play now, or do I pick up and invest in a Kickstarter that I'm not going to get for a while, but that I know is going to be rare later and hard to, possibly impossible to come by later, and trying to make that decision. What are some experiences you've had with that personally for you, Ryan?
I don't have a ton of experience with used games, so the majority of my experience comes from finding a random game in either a yard sale or a Goodwill, and then doing the flea market over at Atlanta Game Fest that we went to last October. That was probably my best experience with used games. I don't get a lot of used games for the specific reason of, I don't know how people have kept their games. I think it's a lot different when you're talking about hobby game lovers like ourselves. We take care of our games. We sleeve cards when we know we're going to be using them a lot. We store everything the right way. But when you're talking about a person who just has a handful of games, you don't know what kind of condition they're going to be in, or if everything will be there. So I think buying from the right sources, I knew when I saw the games that we picked up, let me see if I can remember them all. We picked up 4 or 5 games from the flea market last year, and it was really like a really good experience. We brought like $80, I think. And we said, okay, we'll spend up to $80 on some used games if they're the right games, if they're good fits for our family. And so we picked up Bring Out Your Dead. I got it for $10. That was an amazing buy. In fact, my brother, every time he comes over, he asks to play Bring Out Your Dead. That's one that we've played quite a bit. The Pursuit of Happiness, which is one of my favorite games because it's kind of like a European style life game. That was a great find. A less enjoyable find was Bottle Cap Vikings. I got that one. I picked it up because it was $2. Not a big fan, and actually haven't gotten it to the table. I read through the instructions. I was like, I don't know. I might just use this for little pieces of card. Maybe I'll need some kindling cardboard in the future.
Maybe.
And Dragon Pets. Still never played that one. I bought it with the intent of, my girls will love this game where, like, I'll play it with them. It's taking care of little, Dungeon Pets. I'm sorry. Dungeon Pets. And it's taking care of little monster pets and raising them and training them and doing cool stuff and selling them. I thought it was awesome looking. And then I looked at the BGG rating. I think it was like a 3.5. I was like, oh, cool. A 2.5-hour Euro game that my kids won't understand. This is going to be fantastic. So I bought that one. Well. What now?
This is going to work so well. I have made a great decision.
Yeah, it still hasn't hit the table. I've watched 3 different Let's Plays about it, and I still haven't put it on the table. So maybe me and you need to do that.
Maybe that's
So,
what happened. Yeah, I mean, for me, I buy pretty much only used games. I get a pretty decent bang for my buck that way, I feel. And I've gotten to where I did a couple math trades. Those were okay, but then shipping can get out of hand. And so this is a local guy that I've actually done one of his auctions before. And so I've done better this time. I have the tendency to very impulse buy. I'll see something that looks slightly decent and it's a good deal, and I'll be like, oh, grab it, that'll work. But I've eliminated a lot of stuff this time around, like for my choices. I haven't even put in any bids on anything yet, but there was like Brass was on the list, which is one of the top 30 games, I think.
Yeah.
But is like an hour and a half, 2-hour game, and I know that will never hit the table. And it was only, it's very cheap, very affordable, but I know that we'll never play it. So congratulations, you still spent money on nothing. So Bring Out Your Dead was actually on the list for $5. So maybe I need to pick up maybe that. But
yeah, for $10 that was a steal to me. We've played it. Played it probably about 10 times, and it's card management, and you're trying to kind of outflank everybody else at the table to bury your caskets. Everybody's got a certain number of caskets, and you're trying to bury your family members before it sounds a little morbid, and actually my son plays it with us, and he actually really enjoys it. It's like, I'm gonna bury my bodies, I don't want to send them down river. So
well, it's kind of like Bloody Inn a little bit, yeah, when we played that.
Yeah, I love the Bloody Inn so much.
Bloody Inn is also on the list for $10. I might,
what is
Bloody Inn? There, it's also up for sale for 10. So maybe
you see how big my eyeballs are.
Do you want a second copy? Is that what you're?
I don't know. I actually have a real concern that we're going to wear out the cards in the Bloody Inn, and I didn't sleeve the cards, which I don't do normally, but I have a real concern that the Bloody Inn is going to look like a 1970s version of Monopoly that children have thrown up on eventually, just because our hands use those cards so much and we love the game so much. So
yeah,
the
ones I'm looking at mostly, one of them is a Kickstarter that I almost backed, but it's Vast, the Crystal Caverns. Have you ever heard of that one?
I haven't played it, but I've seen a lot of coverage.
Yeah, basically there's 5 characters that all play very differently, and you're all going up against each other. So one person can be the dragon, you can be the knight, you can be a set of goblins, a thief, and then my favorite character is the cave itself, which I think is fantastic for a game. So that one really caught my eye. But yeah, I mean, I've got some time to decide, but like I've always liked Tim Fowers. I've never backed anything actually of his on Kickstarter. I always end up picking it up later. His games don't go down in price, so if I'm wanting it, I can get a brand new one for the price that I know I'm going to have to pay eventually. So it's kind of a toss up. The other thing is he's got a re-release of a game that I've wanted for a while called Walkstar. He's got a re-release on that Kickstarter page. So that's kind of a thing I've been rolling around with. Again, very first world problem. Many people have many other issues, but yeah, it's just something I wanted to pick your brain about. You be my game therapist.
Yeah, well, I'd be interested in hearing if you watch this video either on our YouTube channel or if you see it on our Facebook page. Comment in the comments below and let us know if you choose, if you mostly buy your games new or used. I prefer new, I think, but I'm also a weirdo because I'm still a person who tries to buy a physical CD, and I'm also the person who would rather buy a physical disc for a video game. So I mean, I am the minority here, I think, with the way that I feel about these things. So I'd like to hear from other people. So there's some games that I would not I would not buy used. Like something like Smash Up or King of Tokyo, I feel like I could buy used because it's just going to get a lot of play. But I think that something like New York Slice, which if you abuse those tiles, if you abuse those little pieces of pizza, that game could get real nasty looking real quick and start busting apart. So I probably would never buy that used. So, you know. Yeah.
You have anything fun on the calendar coming up for you, sir, board game wise?
Not really. We I guess we could talk about this week's new releases for oneboardfamily.com. I'm going to be talking about, we've got a video review for Sagrada. I love Sagrada, and so we're going to be posting a video review this week. I'm hoping on Tuesday, but maybe it'll be Wednesday. We'll see. And then what else? We have you actually headed this one up, games that you can play with 5 people. So that one's going to go up probably Thursday at the latest, and I think that one's a good one. We've got some really good games on there. We're a family of 5, we've got 3 kids, and so 5-player games sometimes are hard to come by. We've bought games specifically before because they support 5 players, and so that's why when Okey Dokey was sent to us and it said 5 players, I was like, yes, another 5-player game.
We'll take it.
Yeah,
and we've got like you said, you've got a couple other reviews coming up. My review schedule ends up being whatever whenever I can type something out, so hopefully we'll get some of those. And then I've got an idea for a piece. So and you and I haven't talked about this, but I this week and last week have been playing board games as part of my classes at school. So we're doing a problem solving unit for my Algebra 2 classes, and one of them, where I only have 8 students, we've been playing through Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective for 3 class periods. So that's been pretty cool to watch them be able to do that. This week we're gonna play Unlock. I bought all 3 versions that are available, and the students are gonna be playing through that to kind of practice their problem solving skills. And then last week as well, we played 2 Rooms and a Boom. Changed the stuff on that a little bit, but they seem to enjoy that kind of a deduction thing. So writing up, I think, something about how my experience of using these in education, it's been really cool. I've enjoyed it.
That's excellent. Yeah, we actually played our second copy of Unlock. We played Squeak and Sausage the first time, and then we played the Island of Dr. Goros or Gorgos. I can't remember his name. Anyway, we played that one actually Friday, and man, that was super frustrating. I don't know if you've played that one. We're gonna, me and you will probably tag team on doing a review for the Unlock series, because we've played 2 of the 3. Have you played all 3?
No. I was hoping that I'd get to play it before I got the girls to play it, but I'm not going to be able to pull that off because we're playing it tomorrow. So I have played the Squeak and whatever that one is. Sausage. And my friend Adrian that played that with us loved it. So I got him a copy of the Vault one for his birthday. I think that's something involving a vault is the 3rd one.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so we'll probably play that at some point too.
Excellent. Cool. Well, we'll do a review when we're ready for that one. And I love the series so far. There's 3 new ones coming out this fall. Very excited for that. It's probably the best $15 you'll spend on a game.
Yeah.
It's an hour. For us this weekend, it was almost 2 hours.
Oh, goodness.
But we were really tired, and man, that.
Oh, somebody got out of his bath.
Cool. Well, Rick, have fun with your dog, and have a good night, man. And
You as
hope
well.
you get to play some games this week.
Yeah, here's hoping. All right, adios.